You're listening to CRBRadio.com. The words and opinions you are about to hear are of the hosts and do not reflect the management, sponsors, or affiliates of Cave Radio Broadcasting.
The views and opinions expressed by our show hosts do not necessarily reflect that of Sports Radio Detroit or its sponsors.
Marvin, what do you make of all this?
Man, I don't even have an opinion.
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
Very exciting stuff. I think we're pretty much ready to go here with this podcast.
The hell is a podcast? I mean, why don't you just tape it? What are you doing?
You don't have to tape it these days, Frank. You just record it right on the computer.
And once we start recording, Frank, we need you to stop eating those crackers. It's incredibly annoying, and it's all anyone's going to be able to hear.
Dead air.
Could you ease up on the crackers?
I'm getting bored with this. I'm going to bring my guest in.
You're listening to the SRD Roadshow on SportsRadioDetroit.com.
Jamie, are you there? My mic's not working. Anybody hear on the mic? Hear me? Can you hear us?
Well, that's going to be a no.
Yeah.
That's a hard no.
I was going to say, that's a very hard no.
I got to play with the settings. Oh, that's why. Microphone's muted.
Makes sense. What about now?
What about now? Jamie, can you hear us?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
Jamie McTaggart, live from the Mid-Michigan studios, joining us here on the Road Show, while Roger's still spinning the 1 and 2s.
Yeah, still trying to figure out levels a little bit. Yeah, there we go.
There it is. You hear Roger now. There we go. So we have Mike Pro.
Hi.
Intern Rayvon.
How's it going?
Pap Check.
Papsiak.
And then Pap's like, what? I'm supposed to talk now? And then we have a special guest, Officer Abe from Southfield. How you doing?
What up, what up?
See, there we go.
Yeah.
We don't want to give away his true identity because, in all reality, he's Batman and he's Bruce Wayne. So
Last name Lincoln.
Yeah. I met with him last week, and for some reason he looked bulkier, like taller, and he's like, no, I'm getting fatter. I'm like, dude, you look ripped. So
It's all those homicide donuts.
Homicide don't, yeah, there's those very odd hours, if you will. So you're listening to the SRD Road Show on CRB Live, of course, and on demand at SportsRadioDetroit.com. Plenty to get to this week. A lot has happened. By the way, hopefully you guys made it in safely. Any issues coming in?
I definitely spent out of control at least twice on my way here.
There you go.
That's pretty normal. Like, when you live in Michigan, you got to get used to that.
Yeah.
Except the road, like, they were totally fine. Where are you guys driving from? I drive by far the farthest out of all you guys, and I didn't hit like anything on the way here.
Telegraph there were spin outs like crazy.
Yeah, that's why I spent.
I took Telegraph all the way here. Not a single ice patch, not one.
Yeah, except you guys come from different ends of Telegraph.
You're right.
So
Up and down
there's
like
that.
5, 6, and 7 miles.
I was going to say Oakland County was a sheet of ice where I was.
Well, that's where I'm coming from, is Oakland County. There were not a single
Again,
patch
you and I
of
are very different parts of Oakland County, my friend.
Oh, yeah, you
West.
come from the west.
Yes.
What were you going to say, Pro?
Up and down like 5, 6, and 7 miles. It's like you can tell it's icy.
Yeah.
I mean, I left the house at 3:30 this morning. Wow, wow. It was like perfectly fine, but
it took you 6 hours to get here.
It did.
That's how dedicated you are to the road show.
I am.
Jamie, is Mid-Michigan supposed to get hit this week with snow? Weekend?
I had a horrible time getting here this morning. It was really difficult walking from my bedroom to the kitchen back to my bedroom. But no, we got a little tiny, just a dusting, basically.
I was going to say, it's a treacherous 30 feet. You have no idea.
We had snow
I'm kind
today.
of a klutz, so it could be.
Snow today, and it was a tornado. By my house, there was a tornado touchdown like 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
What's today? Saturday?
Today's
Thursday.
Saturday.
I heard
So
about
it
that.
would've
Was
been
it in
Thursday.
Pontiac or something?
No, this one was in
Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday. It was
Yes.
in like Shiawassee, but it was like 10 minutes from my house. And then I'm telling the little ones, like, "Oh, there's a tornado coming," and she's all scared. I'm just outside staring at this guy. She's like, "What are you doing?"
Mike,
I'm like,
come in. No, I'm going to see that funnel cloud. Mike, get over here.
She's like, "Why?"
No,
I was
good.
like, well, because if a tornado touches down right now, by the time somebody lets to know the siren know, and for
Right.
us to hear it, we're already dead. So I'm just gonna stand outside for a little bit.
I can attest to that. Like, by the time I heard the tornado coming, and by the time I was able to do anything about it, it had passed us already.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Twister?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a good movie.
It is.
But that's Michigan. We have a tornado and 60 degrees on Thursday, and on Saturday we get snow.
Wait, you can't say that. Like Michigan gets like one tornado a year, if that. Probably less than that on average.
No.
I'm just saying, I'm
your
from Michigan.
area.
No, I'm talking about in general. I'm from Missouri. Okay,
From
we're talking
area.
about like 7 tornadoes a week there.
Well, you're a little bit deeper in Tornado Alley than Michigan.
Well, Michigan's not in Tornado Alley. Missouri's hardly in Tornado Alley. That's the top of it. Like,
there's just more tornadoes at touchdown than you realize in Michigan.
I don't think so, man.
The SRD Weather Channel has been brought to you by
tornadoes.
Fanatics, Fanatics.com. So, speaking of bad weather,
it's supposed to get better though.
It's supposed to get better, but
on Monday it's going to climb.
The Iditarod race.
Iditarod.
Yeah, Iditarod. Okay, Iditarod. Iditarod race, which is in Alaska. By the way,
you did who?
Exactly.
It used to be a big deal when I remember in junior high, the Target tried to push this as kind of a big event, and for whatever reason, I was like, dog racing.
They had movies about it.
Yeah,
Gooding Jr.
Snow dogs.
Snow dogs. They had white.
No. They never had an actual movie about the Iditarod. Those are about horse
racing,
short little dog races. The Iditarod's a 1,500-mile race.
I learned something from the movie Snow Dogs.
What was that?
That
Cuba Gooding Jr. is terrible.
No, actually, that to show your dominance over a dog, just bite
its ear.
I've bitten so many dogs' ears.
I've bitten a couple cats' ears. It didn't work.
Jamie, say, by the way, Iron Will in 1994, the movie I was thinking of, based on the Iditarod. So you're welcome.
Jamie,
rent it sometime.
Have you bitten any dogs' ears?
I've never bitten a dog's ear. I don't need to bite my ear to show my dominance.
I'm not.
She just throws things at
I'm
them.
not biting my pets.
Yeah.
You got to do it to other people's pets.
No, I bit my dog's ear.
Well, in this case,
she was getting too testy. I had to show who's boss.
Well, these dogs. Well, so there was a race going on. So a dog named Joey had been fighting another dog on this team for musher Nicholas Pettit. He lost a huge lead when his dog team refused to keep going after he yelled at one of the animals, and he quote, "I yelled at Joey and everybody heard the yelling, and that doesn't happen." And they wouldn't go anymore, so they just camped out.
I had to read the story a few times because when you said everybody, I was thinking that there was like other people who heard and other people stopped, so he stopped. But then when I investigated the story, it's like, no, he yelled at the dog named Joey. The other dogs was like, who the hell is he yelling at? They said, F him, we're all just going to stop right here.
But here's the thing, right? He had a 5-hour lead.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Because I read this in the Detroit News. He had a 5-hour lead and lost a 5-hour lead.
Well, nobody talks to Joey like that. Nobody. You don't talk to Joey like that.
Who let the dogs pout?
That's now the Roadshow title.
Who let the dogs pout? Yeah, we got that too.
His quote was, I was hoping that the other racers coming by would wake the dogs up and they would move too. But no, they did not. I mean, he finished in second, but damn, I bet you would never yell at Joey again.
Man, these dogs got an entitlement of the millennials here.
Oh my God! Millennial dogs killing the Iditarod.
Yeah, that was that's a BuzzFeed headline if I ever heard one. Jeez.
That just crazy. Like everybody heard, and that's like he said it's not usual. How do you usually yell at one dog but the rest of them not hear? Do you have
the lead dog pulls and everyone follows?
They whisper to the dogs.
Yeah, but I'm saying like he said. They usually don't hear him yell. Is there like a microphone on the dog's ear? And he's
maybe he just doesn't usually yell.
Yeah.
What did he have to yell about if he was in the lead? I don't understand.
Yeah,
you gotta stop moving.
True that.
Yeah,
I think that's probably moving. That's why they stopped. Like, bruh, we're 5 hours ahead.
But wait, you guys need to realize
like
a 5-hour lead in a race like that isn't that much. You're going 1,500 miles. It's not like he's going, a 6-hour trip and he's 5 hours ahead. Like 5 hours is not a big lead.
I love how you're minimalizing a 5-hour lead.
And you guys, I've spent time watching.
Did not run for 5 hours.
Yeah,
but I've watched bike races and stuff. A 3-hour lead is nothing. Like in relatively speaking, it's not. I'm just saying.
Honestly, though, in terms of for mechanical versus the power or dog power, I guess I can't think of another word, but a 5-hour to me at least. You look at a motorcycle race or Formula. If you look at Formula One, like the 24-hour Le Mans, mechanically speaking, you can catch those hours up pretty quick based off making mechanical adjustments within the legal limits. With this, I don't know if 5 hours is easy to catch up on because essentially, unless the dog gets sick or something, but I don't know. I mean,
he's got bad luck. So before he lost a race because he made a wrong turn, and then it set him back like hours and hours and hours. But I guess like the team's like he's Nick Saban. They're up 42-7, and he's just berating the special team coach or something. So they all just quit. But it's like, how did all the dogs just quit? They clearly don't like him.
Well, here's the thing.
He hasn't bit them yet.
The story puts it in context.
Say, I knew I should have made a left turn at Albuquerque.
Damn straight, Bugs. No, but the story puts it in context. He had a 5-hour lead, and then the person that was behind him then came up by an hour. So it's still, like, even though if you want to put it in context, like Papchak tried to, it still took an hour more than, so it took 6 hours to lose that lead. 6 hours. I'm sorry, that's still a substantial lead, even if we're talking about, dog racing, or if you want to say, it's like having a half-mile lead in a car race. That's still.
But like my whole point is like people finish 12 hours from each other between second and third place.
But it ruins the joke if you say that 5 hours isn't a lot, man. Jeez.
Not only that, his dogs were well fed. Like, I really want to know what he had to yell about.
Yeah, and that's what they said. Like,
no, the dogs were just infighting.
Yeah,
they got sick and tired of each other.
They were bumping elbows. Like, give me some elbow room. Quit hitting my elbow. Quit hitting me. Quit hit. All right, that's enough. And then they started wrestling.
They're like, squirrel, keep running. Squirrel, keep running. Wolverine.
Either way, but so let's move on though. We're talking about Detroit weather earlier. Let's talk about what's 2 things that are tying into another topic we have going on later. And Detroit's coming into a bad light, of course, because it seems like every national poll has us up somewhere. But the first one is saw this on WXYT. Detroit named 2019's least happiest city in America, according to Wallet Hub. So Wallet Hub is for anybody out there that
everybody out there that doesn't know what Wallet Hub is.
Yeah, exactly.
Free advertising for Wallet Hub.
Do they sell wallets?
No, but
that's a stupid name.
So they drew on. So in order for them to come up with this list, they drew upon various finds of positive psychology research in order to determine which among the more than 180 of the largest U.S. cities is home to the happiest people in America. We examined at least based on 31 key indicators of happiness, ranging from depression rate to income growth rate to average leisure time spent per day.
And there right there is why Detroit's so low on the list.
Yes.
There are so many people working 12, 14, 16-hour shifts. There is no time for leisure, so like that automatically puts us in the bottom.
So I'm the number one city, the 3 happiest cities in the United States: Plano, Texas, Irvine, California, and Madison, Wisconsin. But that's a college town.
It's my hometown.
Really?
Yeah.
Madison? Nice.
Yeah.
Cheesehead.
I didn't know that.
I knew there was something we
go to
didn't
Ian's
like about
Pizza
you.
if you go there.
I've been wanting to go to a football game there for a long time. So I was surprised that San Francisco was
really.
They have mac and cheese pizza.
Ooh, the cheese, but
it's worth the 8-hour drive.
For number 10, San Francisco comes in, which kind of surprises me because the cost of living over there is kind of insane. But there's a lot of things about California that make up for it. So Grand Rapids, by the way, comes in at number 62 as the most happiest city in America. But for Jamie, I wanted to ask your point of view because you don't technically live around. You live in the mid-Michigan area. Is that, I mean, you come down here as a visitor to the area. Are we miserable curmudgeons?
When I was down there, I didn't have any, you don't see everybody walking around, gloomy and depressed, and everything was really vibrant, and people were very friendly and outgoing, and there's way more to do in that area than there is up here, so I did not get that impression at all.
That's a stupid survey.
Yeah,
very.
Here's the other thing, too. So they have other things they mark. So lowest depression rate was Miami. It was the top 4 cities were Florida, so naturally weather plays a part of it. The highest depression, Burlington, Vermont, South Burlington, Toledo, Huntington, West Virginia, and Charleston. Lowest adequate sleep rate was Detroit, Detroit is the lowest, and then Toledo was up there too, man. Like, Toledo's got no love either. But
I didn't understand how Burlington, Vermont had the highest depression rate, but they worked the fewest hours.
Yeah.
Because it goes to show, to do, so they get out of work and they just sit there and think. And we all know that when you think, you get depressed.
Yeah,
there's less to do. Like,
that's true. What do they do in Vermont?
You ever been like unemployed for an extended period of time? It's awful. There's nothing to do.
Well, you can make maple syrup in Vermont.
They have Ben and Jerry's.
Got to be the right season though to make the maple syrup.
Just go work for
Bernie. True. That is true. If it's not maple syrup season, life sucks.
Yeah, but the
it's
other
awful.
part. But either way, perspective is the key.
I had a lot coming up within.
But there is some factual truths about Detroit too. About this, Mike brings up a point about people working many hours. Most worked hours, by the way, was Anchorage, Alaska. Was the most worked hours. So
it's probably because it's nighttime 16 hours a day.
Yeah, you gotta work. Like you gotta work the night shift. Define night shift.
Like the whole night.
Like, or am I only working when the sun is up, or am I only working when the sun is down? Because half the year they have 16-hour days and like 8-hour nights, and
Well, that and you have to fly a plane to get into work.
Yeah,
there's that, right?
Yeah, it's right.
And it takes you 3 hours to get there.
Yes.
Yeah, and not to mention you really have to pack your car if something happens to your car.
Yep.
To where
if you get stranded, you have to basically have enough of a house in your car.
Yeah, or else you're screwed.
And you got to watch out for like moose and bear on your way.
Yeah.
Yep. Moose and squirrel.
And it's
and
always
Russians.
snowing, even if it's 80 degrees outside.
That's a good joke. I don't get a laugh. You guys suck.
I caught it.
See, okay, I appreciate Jamie. I don't appreciate everyone else.
I didn't get.
No, those two. I was looking at those two over there in the corner.
He needed to do it with the Russian accent. That would have really driven it home.
That's true.
No, but
Moose and squirrels.
Moose and squirrel. But the thing is, look. Ultimately, there's always going to be that.
Peabody.
All those people coming out of the woodwork saying Detroit's a great place, and you're going to see those memes and videos of everybody rallying around Detroit and all that. So the opposite.
I haven't been down there.
Yeah. So exactly. As one person who literally works the streets at night, Abe, you know people are going to just get offended by that list already. If not, just it's a great place to live, even though I live in Sterling Heights.
Go down there. Go down there. Detroit's coming back. You know what? Go down there. First of all, 11 o'clock at night. Any night, it's like a fucking ghost town. Nobody's down there except for the homeless and the mentals. But go down there. Have a great time. Because all they're doing is bringing more people down there for these morons to go after. Do you know the last time there was an event at Little Caesars Arena that 10 cars weren't broken into? Because I know firsthand. I've taken all those fucking reports. Everybody should get broken into every night. But no, it's a great place to go to. Come on, get the fuck out of here.
Well, not just that. Go like half a mile anywhere from Midtown or anything like that. It hasn't changed.
It's fantastic. All the stuff they've built and they promised us, man. It's amazing down there.
I feel safer down there right now than I have in years past.
I've been.
I feel the same.
Perception.
Yeah,
I know.
It's just perception.
Well, I don't know.
I feel safer down
there's
there,
more
too.
people. There's more people around, and does that not make it safer in a way?
No, because these.
I'm
telling you,
I
the
know.
people committing these crimes, they're not like real sophisticated. Like, oh well, there's 30 people around, so I'm not going to rob that guy. They don't give a damn. They just see it as more opportunity. Yeah, maybe it's safer because now you're instead of being a 1 in 10 chance of getting robbed, there's a 1 in 30 chance.
So things are getting better.
Well,
no. That statistic right there means that things are getting better.
That's just because if there's more people there.
That was my whole point, though. If there's more people around,
there's still going to be that one moron that's robbing people.
There's always going to be that one moron. But you just said that it's gone down, which means things are getting safer. I feel like that's an oxymoron if you're trying to say the other way around.
It's not that it's getting safer. It's that because of more people, there's a less likelihood of yourself. If you're in a crowd of 5 people, right, versus a crowd of 20 people, one of you's still going to get robbed.
Yeah,
right.
But
it's a lot less likely that it's going to happen to me.
I agree because the city's coming back.
I love Detroit. I've been going down there, going to after hours till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning for like 10 years. I've never had an issue. Whatsoever. I'm a strong, don't be afraid of Detroit advocate.
I've had 2 attempted muggings in Grand Rapids actually on me, but never in Detroit.
Really?
I mean, I know that's anecdotal and that doesn't mean shit, but That's a bit why my perception's different too. Yeah, I was in Easttown both times.
Really? Easttown?
Easttown's the most dangerous part of Grand Rapids by far.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were East Grand Rapids.
No.
no.
East Grand Rapids is rich.
No, Easttown. Yeah.
Easttown is a cobblestone street, and I was standing outside of a hookah lounge. There's 30 people around, and this woman just comes up to me. Nice shoes. You got $1? And I'm like, no. And she grabs me by the scruff of the neck and is like, I know you got at least $1 with those damn shoes on. And there are people around us, and nobody paid attention. And I was like,
robbed by a bum?
No, she didn't rob me.
You got
I shoved her off, and
you pushed a woman?
You pushed a woman?
All right.
No, there's some parts of Wyoming too that are pretty bad, Mike. That I've gotten chased down in Wyoming before, right off.
I watched some guy see, like, a friend of mine. He was standing on the sidewalk. He bent down to like tie his shoe, and some dude started running towards us. And my buddy just didn't know what was going on, so he stood up and he just decked the guy right in the face. And then this dude a block down just started running. So we think they were doing something, but
yeah. Either way, Jim, what were we gonna say though?
That was weird.
I gotta say that I feel safer in Detroit than I feel in Flint, and I've had to go to both cities for training. And I would much rather train in Detroit and be in Detroit than I would be in Flint. I never feel safe in Flint.
I'm in Flint and Detroit. You know what I mean? It's every city has a hood,
right?
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So that's all it is. I mean,
I wouldn't recommend just going for the stroll on the east side,
right? Lounging,
or even right up here.
Don't be walking down Gratiot and Harper,
or go to Telegraph 96 in those apartments over there. Like I used to. There's a pizza place I used to run over here. That after 8 o'clock, we didn't go past Telegraph and Outer Drive because we had a point where it was 4 robberies in a span of 6 months, where one guy actually literally was under the car, one of my driver's cars. He was going to his car, and this dude was just as he was going to open the door, the guy went from by the trunk, popped up underneath the trunk, put the gun in the back of my driver's hand. Or back, and I was off that day, and escorted him back in the building. They all locked in, and they stole $250. So that was like, and I had to come in because I was
10 pizzas.
And I was a corporate trainer, and the next day we're like, they refused. We had to negotiate for like the first robbery. Like, no, we're not putting glass proof up. Second robbery, no. Third one, oh, okay, finally, they finally did, and they had to do the buzz in to get the buzz in the back, but. I
think Detroit has the most potholes. That's another criteria that should be included.
Oh yeah, or
Michigan's a giant pothole in itself. Yeah, I mean, that's all it comes down to.
But all in all, I feel pretty safe in Detroit. I don't live in Detroit, but anytime I go, like people are very welcoming. It's not like people think. You just have to go, and if you mind your business, you should stay out of trouble. Like you probably.
It depends where you're going.
Yeah, it depends where you're going, but. If you're not, like you said, just perusing in any old area, you should.
There's a few gas stations you don't go to at night.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a lot of gas stations you don't go to at night.
Like
exactly.
all of them. No,
there's a.
I'd rather run out of gas on the highway and get the highway patrol to come put some gas in there.
So, but the Detroit continues on. And this is the NFL agents poll.
Oh, this story was stupid.
So this was what are the best, worst landing spots for free agents? And this is according to NFL agents, the
agents of the free agents.
Yes.
There you go.
So he only got answers from 15 NFL agents. So the writer Robert Clemo.
Yep,
Clemco.
Clemco.
Clemco. Got only you only have 15 people. So the top 5 free agent destinations according to these 15 NFL agents. Dallas got 11 votes. Seattle got 8. Miami got 8. LA Rams 7, and Atlanta got 5. Atlanta squeaked by Philadelphia for 5th place, with one agent saying players from the SEC often see Atlanta as the capital of the South. One agent described the city as America's black Mecca. Miami still has the South Beach appeal, and then Seattle benefits from a popular city and was judged as a player-friendly work environment. So Dallas are said to spare no expense when it comes to player luxuries. They treat the player first rate, one agent said. So, okay, well, I mean, I don't know, Dallas teaming number 1 seemed a little weird to me, but
why? Jerry Jones will shoot the moon for you.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean,
and it's like success rate of the organization.
Dallas isn't successful.
Most of
it's
the teams
America's
aren't
team. All right, it's
Miami.
America's
It's
team.
I think it's a lot of it's weather related. Outside of Seattle, all those teams are towards the south.
Right.
Yeah.
A couple of them, no tax as well.
Texas has no state income.
Yeah.
tax.
Florida.
You know what I'm saying?
And that billion-dollar
Florida,
stadium, who
Texas?
doesn't want to
No,
play in that?
Miami?
Texas doesn't have it? What?
I don't think Texas
No,
does.
Texas has state
Texas
income.
does.
Oh, okay.
100%. It's Florida that doesn't
Yeah,
have it.
Florida. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense there. But the bottom five, Buffalo, number one, Oakland, Cincinnati, Detroit, and Cleveland. So
That's just on success. If you look at all those teams, like none of them have been relevant.
Poor run organizations, terrible weather, except in Oakland. But that's again instability of where they're even going to be.
But I guess there's some debate among where Cleveland belongs in the ranking. Some agents have said that Cleveland would be far away the least desirable a couple years ago. But John Dorsey coming there, I guess, is talk about the new regime in Cleveland's fantastic.
Cleveland would be number one next year. They do the survey.
Cleveland will never be number one. You still have to live in Cleveland and Ohio.
Yeah, and it's all Rust Belt cities if you think about it. It's Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Detroit. About five. And Indianapolis also was getting some consideration, but
I get Buffalo.
Yeah,
Who the hell wants to be in Buffalo?
weather and sex are huge factors. One agent said about Indianapolis. So Detroit's
Bad weather, good sex here.
The Detroit factor has the knock of a locker room that appears dysfunctional to players looking from the outside. Especially with Matt, I think I'm Belichick, but I haven't done shit. Patricia, one agent said. Cincinnati has a reputation for being cheap, which surprises no all because the Browns are terrible, terrible owners, and it's a poorly run, low-budget operation. Another agent said this is the same operation that made the city of Cincinnati close the hospital to make sure the stadium had its, the best facilities, what have you. So, but Buffalo, yeah, of course, that makes no sense. But that kind of backs up what I said last week on this. There was a stupid tweet that somebody was saying the reason why no one comes to Detroit is because the media is so harsh. No, I wish I could. I'll have to find it. I wish I could find the jackass who said it because it was so dumb. So dumb. This is the reason why. But what was interesting, Cleveland or Green Bay and New England were the two of the three teams, along with the Giants, that have won Super Bowl in the last decade to make the bottom 10. Black players, agents said, believe Green Bay with a 3.5 African American population, the lowest of any NFL city, could be a hostile place for minorities. But I don't know. That's also, I think also kind of like a stereotype a little bit because Green Bay has always been known when they had Vince Lombardi's teams had a good mix of African American players, and they never seem to complain about it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just basically what it comes down to is weather and if you can get laid. I mean, that's really. I mean, what that agent said and what Abe's reinforced is true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry if a team's willing to pay you good money, you're gonna listen to that team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, money talks. Especially if you're late in your career, you're gonna go. There's just no two ways about it. That's why stuff like this, and even though yes, those 15 agents could represent arguably 25% of the league, it's still not a good representation of everyone's true, interpretations of the league. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. But everything they said about Detroit though is true.
Yeah, Jamie,
I do think so.
Go ahead.
I think that even in the article it was mentioned that the interviewer felt that the comment about Detroit and Matt Patricia was sour grapes and not necessarily a very true picture.
The quote was Matt quote I've never won effing anything, Patricia. That was what he called him. Yeah.
Yes.
That they felt that it was not necessarily a true picture of what the players feel, but just kind of a hit job from that one agent that said that. So I think that that's important. And yeah, like they said, a lot of it has to do with nightlife and what they're going to be able to do in their downtime. And so maybe that's why we don't have quite so many giant drama scandals in Detroit, because we don't have that nightlife that they're looking for. And then they go out and then they get trashed and then they do something really stupid and like shooting themselves in the leg with a gun type thing.
Well, that happened last night.
I was gonna say
Plaxico Burress is back in town.
I swear, I get emails about every shooting in the city, and some idiot went to the Pistons game last night, went back to his car because non-law enforcement can't bring your guns into the stadium.
Right.
He goes back into his car, grabs his gun, and shoots himself in the leg.
Jackass. All right, it's time for
Cheddar Bob.
Time for Horse. Who's to read the questions? Do you want me to read the questions, Ben? Or
You've been doing it the last month. Go ahead.
I've been doing it last month. I've been doing it when you're not here, fool.
Last month.
All right, so that's no, touche.
How is what I said not accurate?
Touche. No, touche.
I was gonna say
touche. All right, so
oh my goodness.
H, did Russell Westbrook cross the line for threatening Utah Jazz fan by saying "I'll f you up"? F you and your wife up, or his reaction racial slurs justified? The NBA fined Russ $25,000 and banned Shane. I meant Shane Kessler for life. And Ben put the I can see when you highlighted that too.
Yeah,
That was nice.
see, there you go.
Utah also banned another fan that called Russ boy before Game 4 of last year's playoffs. I don't know. I think Russ had all the legitimacy to do this in the world.
Nope. Don't bring in a man's wife. If she wasn't saying anything, you don't say "I'll fuck you and your wife up." Excuse me, but like, you don't say that.
About the rest of what he said.
He's always going to do it. He's a dick. Like, okay. Fans shouldn't be able to say whatever they want to players, but it works the other way around too. Players don't get to say whatever they want to fans either. We've talked about this in many different ways over the course of this show since I've been on it.
Right.
You're making the money. You're supposed to be a role model, whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not. That's just the facts. So no, you shouldn't do that. Russ shouldn't do that. But also, they did the right thing in banning him. You also, fans, it should go both ways. Neither of them should be able to say whatever they want, especially when national TV is involved.
Pro?
I'll go last.
Okay. All right. Ben.
Okay. I mean, I don't think it's justified by any stretch of the imagination, but it's something that this is a known thing in Utah. But you, as a player, you have to have a thicker skin. Whether it's racially charged or not, you have to have a thicker skin. And yes, it's tough. It's easier said than done. But get over it. I'm sorry. You're going to hear it from a lot of people that don't like you, anyways. And I'm sure it's not the first time you heard it either. So, yeah, I mean, everyone has a go word. When you hear it, you're going to just drop everything and you're going to want to fight. And that was apparently Russ's go word, and he was sick of it. So, I'm not going to say his reaction was justified, but we're also a town where a guy flipped a cup on Ron Artest from 6 rows back and created the Malice at the Palace.
The wrong guy got beat up.
Well, but here's the other thing, though. People forget in that mess, some fat fan ran up to Jermaine O'Neal.
He clocked him.
And was about to clock Jermaine O'Neal. Jermaine O'Neal saw him, froze in his tracks, was like, oh my God, I can't sucker punch this guy. And Jermaine O'Neal just knocked him out. So, fans need to understand buying a ticket does not entitle you to what you think is carte blanche behavior. And I also blame other fans around this guy for telling him, hey, shut up. Just knock it off. Because I'm sure that wasn't just the first time he was trying to get a reaction out of Russell Westbrook. None of it on any side is justified. It's ridiculous on all sides. And as people were vetting him in social media, this guy was racially charged from the beginning. And apparently stories came out that 5 or 6 people were recording this to try to set this up so he could sue, Russell Westbrook to get a money grab. None of this is justified. It's all terrible and it started because fans think that when they buy a $120 ticket that they're entitled to do whatever they want while they're in the building. Now, we're not talking about telling James Dolan, hey, sell the team, because that's harmless. James Dolan probably hears that 100 times, just entering Madison Square Garden. But, if you're going to go after a player, that's ridiculous. I always find heckling in baseball games stupid. even if it's harmless stuff like, hey, you should cut your hair. Like, I'm sorry, like, you're asking for it at points. So I don't think any of it's justified. I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's a bad look for Utah because it's not the first time, and it's not going to be the last time that it's happened. So I don't think any of it's justified. I think this is a terrible story, and it's awful.
Jamie?
Jamie?
She fell asleep.
Sorry, I forgot to take it off mute again. I think that when somebody is saying something to you, you have carte blanche to respond however. He didn't touch the guy. He didn't touch the guy's wife. If you're going to get in somebody's face and mock them and berate them and whatever, guess what? Take it like a man. Suck it up. You opened your mouth. You get whatever's coming back at you. As long as it doesn't resort to violence, if he's not up in the crowd punching the guy, no, he's justified. You don't get to open your mouth and then think that people don't have the right to respond to you, regardless of what they're doing. I'm telling you right now, if somebody comes into the bank and starts treating me like crap, I'm not going to shut up and take it because I'm getting paid. I'm going to tell him off and I'm going to walk away. And my boss is honestly probably going to kick him out just like happened there. But no, if you're going to open your mouth and you're going to say things, then whatever he says back to you, you brought on yourself.
True that.
Suck it up.
And
take responsibility for your words.
And to follow off what Pap, see, yes, he shouldn't have said anything to her, but when she starts talking trash, it's fair game.
Well, that's what I said. I said if she didn't do anything,
you're letting her husband talk trash.
No, but she also. But hold on, wait, hold on.
Let Mike on. Let Mike talk. We got to wrap up this question.
And he starts stuff like that. I'm going to get up and I'm going to take his ass out of the place because he's representing me at that point too.
All right, let's.
And I'm telling everybody that's what I believe.
We got to wrap this question up.
All right, wrap it up, Pro. What were you gonna say?
But yeah, there's video that she was also repeating the same thing that her husband was saying. So it's fair game for
that's why I said the qualifier.
It's fair game for him to start talking trash back to them. I mean, verbal abuse is verbal abuse.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like everybody's going to respond to it differently, and it's not the first time in Utah. There's a lot of racist things that come out of these people's mouth there. So like two wrongs don't make it right. But I'm not mad at him. I don't care that he threatened either one of them.
Yeah, real quick, I don't think the NBA's punishment finding Russ $25K was justified because Russ has a bad history with fans. Like he slapped a fan's phone out of his hand. He has a history of going back and forth with fans. But I agree with Pat. Like when you're a basketball player, you are a role model, so you have to carry yourself like that. And he could have just got security in the first place. But if it was Russell Westbrook, just a regular human being, then that's fair game. But because he's a basketball player on a high platform, you can't do that.
And if you're not going to say something to this person in a bar, don't yell to him in a game.
There we go. All right, let's
move on. I got one question on it, and I don't even want a response. I got one question on it. I don't want a response. If he's saying racial things to Russell Westbrook, right? I know it's Utah, but I'm sure there's a couple of the black guys in the stands. Why aren't they saying anything?
Five other people got warnings as well as one person being banned.
All right, let's move on because we could go on and on. We should have done a whole segment about this, but should the Lakers consider trading LeBron James after this offseason? Janine Buss reportedly is thinking about it after trading LeBron James after his agent Rich Paul leaked the Anthony Davis trade request to the Lakers, and could they get any real value for him if they did?
I don't believe the report that she was thinking about trading him. It wasn't about this year to begin with. Yes, people want to progress and get to certain places, but it wasn't about this year. So I don't look at this year as a failure. And it's LeBron James. He may not be the best player on the court for 48 minutes or 42 minutes, but I guarantee you he's the best player on the court for at least 32 to 36 minutes. He is still, last year he was considered the best person in the game. Now just because the Lakers suck, he's no longer, and he should be traded. No, it's a long game that they're playing here, and yes, things didn't go according to plan, but he's still best in the game, and it'd be stupid for them to trade him.
Okay, but the plan was always, we knew this at the beginning of the season, they weren't going to win this year. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying, like, this isn't a failure at all. I know you're not used to me agreeing with you.
I was ready to debate. What do you mean?
No. LeBron James not getting traded, period. There's nothing else for me to say. It's not happening.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening either. Rayvon?
I mean, there's a difference between contemplating something and actually taking action. I don't think she got on the phone with other owners and, like, drafted up a package for him. But I think she probably got in her feelings. Like, I'm pissed about this whole Rich Paul thing. It's causing a lot of drama to our players. I think it might have been like a fleeting moment, but I don't think it was like a serious contemplation. But they wouldn't get equal value back from him if they did, so that would be like the dumbest move they could do.
I guarantee they could get some first and a good player. You know what I mean? If a team thought they could win now in some kind of fashion, they would throw some first, at least 2 firsts for him. Guarantee it. Guarantee.
He's having a bad rap Middleton and a couple firsts, easy.
Easy. You know what I mean? Because LeBron can put you way over that hump. You know what I mean? Let's just say LeBron didn't go to L.A. He went to Philly. They probably wouldn't even have lost the game this year.
He's also not motivated anymore. He knows they suck. He knows it's a rebuilding process.
Yeah, and it's just, but still, I mean, I think it's all just talk. Jamie, real quick.
I mean, I'm on the record on the show many times saying that, yeah, you should consider trading anybody at all times because there's always that price that makes it worthwhile. But I don't think he's going anywhere. But yeah, everybody's open for trade as long as you're willing to pay the price that I want. That's my take on everything. It's always been my take.
There's always a price. Who was it? Is it Ted DiBiase?
Yep.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase. There's always a price. Ben, finish it off.
With this question?
Yeah, this question.
I think everyone's fair game. With the way that LeBron's been trying to orchestrate, trying to basically trade the entire bench for Anthony Davis, we know LeBron is a troublemaker when he wants to get a coach fired. And it seems like LeBron and his agent are running the Lakers, not Rob Pelinka. So if I'm an owner, I see LeBron as an untouchable, dysfunctional player. I don't care if he's arguably, the greatest of all time. He's definitely one of the best players of this generation. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't want him on my team. So yeah, he brings drama and toxicity with him, and I would rather have a legit.
He's been to 8 straight finals
because the East has sucked.
You don't.
Oh my God!
That doesn't matter.
Oh my!
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
Bro,
you don't trade the best player in the world.
Yeah,
you just don't.
I would.
No matter what, you will not be getting.
If he's that toxic, they're not going to finals. He took crappy teams to the finals.
Yeah, Cleveland is a 14-win team without him.
Come on, and the second time also.
Yeah. Either way, but no. Honestly, it's just all talk.
I would trade him. You asked my opinion. That's my opinion.
No, we're not telling you you're wrong. Just
I am.
It's probably.
I was going to say that side of the table is.
It's probably like a high price, but everybody's fair game. Even if they was like, "Hey, I'm interested in Magic Johnson. I'm going to trade for him." I'm pretty sure they'd probably do that. The coach, anybody is fair game for a price.
For a price, but
okay, right? But the price. That's what I'm saying. The price to get LeBron James. You could get 6 first-round picks. If you're not getting the best player in the world, you lost that trade.
No, that's the way to look at it. All right, so we go to.
Good point, Pat.
No, that is a good point. We go to R. James Nolan permanently bans a fan for saying sell a team. Are we sure that top free agents are thinking about going to New York and playing for an owner like Dolan? And I can just answer it really quick. The answer is they haven't been in the last 10, 15 years in some of the best free agent classes we've seen. The Knicks are a joke, and his band is a joke. He cares more about his jazz band, playing jazz flute or whatever he plays.
But,
hey, don't be ripping on the jazz flute, okay?
I mean, but you're not going to like an old rich dude for doing what he wants. I'm pretty sure if you were old and rich and you wanted to start a band, there's probably a million people who would make fun of you. So who cares?
Oh, absolutely, and I deserve it.
Who cares if you suck? You know what I mean? You're doing what you want. Yes, the Knicks have been bad for a while. They've had some bad contracts, and that's the reason why people don't want to go there is because they've had bad contracts for majority of the time, but they have a great plan right now. They have some great young players. They got some nice picks, and regardless if they don't get players or not, they have a plan in place to try to get some people. So, yes, their owner is crazy, but he pays. He gave Amari Stoudemire $100 million with no knee cartilage. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's a team owner that's not going to pay
medical expenses,
pay you top prices. Pay for your contract. I mean, so there's a lot crazier owners in the game. So,
but winning doesn't matter. Like winning is clearly not the highest thing on the priority list there.
But
I'm just saying
they've never had what they have right now. In the past 10 years, they've never had what they got right now.
Did you know that the last time they signed a rookie to a second contract was in 1994?
Wow.
But that's also
really.
I read this on Twitter. I'm gonna go double check, but like they had Kristaps Porzingis and then they got rid of him. I understand why they did it, but like, I guess let me focus on the question itself. The Knicks are like, to me, the only kind of team I can think of to compare them to, they're like the Tennessee Volunteers in football. They get all this hype about how, they're going to get these players and they're finally going to be good, and it's all for what they did 20, 30, 40 years ago. I don't remember when Tennessee was any good at football, and I don't remember when the Knicks were any good at basketball. Not in my lifetime. And so I think that's, you're right. They'll get paid. If you're going for the money, do what Melo did. Be like, yo, I'm a really good player, and they'll give you as much money as you want.
Yeah, but Abe, you're from New York, so
I hate the fucking Knicks. I'm a Knicks fan, and it's a joke. James Dolan is a little bitch because if you say something negative to him, not get it. And it's also the words that he said. Go enjoy watching them from home. You ain't enjoying watching them from home. The only reason people go to Knicks games now is the experience. There's nobody on that team that you're going to pay money to go see.
Kevin Knox was that player at first this year. Ooh. Everybody wanted to see their rookie Kevin Knox.
Yeah, but he's been terrible.
That's what I'm saying.
He's been terrible. They have some nice young pieces. I happen to be a fan of Dennis Smith Jr. I always have been.
I love that trade.
Alonzo Trier's a nice player. Mitchell Robinson, their center, is an absolute freak. But like you said, the Amari contract, right? At that time, they were going after LeBron. They wanted Dwayne Wade. They wanted Chris Bosh. They wanted those guys and weren't able to get any of them. So like, oh crap! Well, we need to get a guy that has name value, and so we'll give a whole boatload of money to somebody that's probably going to play one season's worth in that 5-year contract. I don't think they knew that going in. It was a mistake to sign Amari, but that's a long time ago. They haven't made a good move since.
But they've had some bad contracts. Noah, horrible contract. Hardaway, bad contract.
That's their fault.
All name guys, it's name value. Try to sell seats.
But I don't think, to bring it back to the question, I don't think free agents are looking like, they have a crazy owner, I don't want to go there. It's not James Dolan's fault for players not going there.
Here's the thing long term about the Knicks and why I think that they'll never be a good team. Because every guy that goes there, right? When Oklahoma City's in town, what does Russell Westbrook want to do in New York City? Have the game of his life. So that means 41 games of the year, you're playing up against the guy that wants to have the best game of his career. It's hard to win every night like that. You know, I was there when LeBron had a triple-double with 50 points. Like the guy, now LeBron's obviously, a freak, but Kobe was there, put up 60. When Durant comes to town, when Curry comes to town, they're all Harden, right? They're all. This is what they're trying to do. They're in the Mecca. They're in New York City under the lights. They want to be the absolute megastar that night. And if you're going up against that 41 games of the year, unless you're going up against the Aaron Gordon-led Magic, or the Trae Young in a couple of years with the Hawks.
Oh, what the hell was that?
I don't think they get any top free agents. Maybe Kemba Walker at the most, because he's a fellow New Yorker, and they will overpay him.
Yeah, but the thing,
overpay him. Yeah.
I remember the Knicks teams in the '90s: Patrick Ewing,
Allen
Houston, John Starks. That was the last part of what was built in the '70s. If you think about it, and Bernard King too. But if you think about it, since the '70s, since they won the title in the NBA, has been a slow. I mean, to a certain
extent, the
extent,
finals in '98 in that short of '98.
Yeah, and that's true. And they couldn't get by the Bulls, but the Knicks were at least competitive and fun to watch, and they're relevant. But now they're not even relevant, and that's.
But in their defense, though, there's other teams that were doing a lot better, and then they had bad contracts. So you're not going to go to the team, okay, or they already got bad contracts, so they can sign me. Am I really going to get this team over the hump? Probably not. You know what I mean? So they were strapped by some of these dumb contracts. You know what I mean? Amari didn't pan out whatsoever. So and that was a max contract
right for like 20 games.
That was a max contract for 4 years.
And that's
then you got Noah and Hardaway. One player knows it's not going to take that team over the hump, and unless you grew up in New York and you just want to just bring that franchise back, it was hard for them to do that.
The bottom line is, look, James Dolan is a bad owner who doesn't let basketball people do basketball things.
There's worse owners though.
There is. I don't know. I don't know. You have the number one media market in the country. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Sorry, that was a weird sounding cough. My bad.
Ban the guy for saying, sell the team. It's not like he's saying, hey, I hate you. I wish you were in a grave. Like, here, why don't you go take $4 billion and just go live in the middle of Foxville?
But the one thing about James Dolan, he always has his face like he's on acid. Like it's
because he is.
He's a musician, so what do you expect? He's a drug user.
Yeah, but
Tom Gorse always has chapstick spread way further than his lips.
No, that's because he's drunk. I was going to say, he's an alcoholic. He gets wasted.
Yeah, either way. Let's move on to S. Adam Silver recently spoke at the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference. Among the topics that were brought up are anxiety issues, shortening the schedule, and an interesting idea replacing the All-Star game with a mid or preseason tournament. It might be a pipe dream, but what do you think of those ideas brought up?
I don't see that happening, because if you shorten the season, aren't you shortening the total revenue for that year for everyone? I mean, I like the idea of like mixing it up with the All-Star game, because it is an afterthought, like he called it. Maybe they can do like in baseball where whichever conference wins.
That doesn't happen in baseball anymore.
Oh, that stopped?
Yeah. That stopped
like 2 years ago.
Because that is the dumbest rule. I'm
I
sorry. No, you're wrong. Why should your All-Stars determine whether you have home court? It doesn't, though. It never worked in baseball.
In baseball, if you pull out your best player, you can't come back in the game.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And it's different, too, because the home field advantage determines designated hitter or no designated hitter, too. Right. So it's a little different. But hell no, you cannot use an All-Star game to determine anything.
I think so, because like it
didn't work for baseball. It never worked for baseball. Why would it work in any other sport?
If you did that rule again in a couple of years when the DH becomes absolute in the NL, then that would actually make more sense then.
Why do we want the All-Star game?
I'm just saying.
No, I'm asking a different question. Why do we want the All-Star game to matter? Like the players will never see it as mattering because they could get hurt and it ruins their it's not beneficial to them.
You could get hurt in any game.
Exactly, but in the All-Star game, it doesn't go towards your record. It doesn't go towards anything.
It could though, and that would make it more compelling.
You don't want a guy from the Pittsburgh Pirates deciding what if you're the Houston Astros. You don't want the guy from the Pirates deciding whether or not you're going to go.
Yeah,
have
like
home field
so the Knicks would have to have somebody on the All-Star team. You know what I mean? And then that's deciding home field advantage. No,
let's talk about the other idea though that I actually like through all this. And I don't know what you guys think about this, but having a mini tournament like they do in Asia or Europe. Because honestly, I love the idea of an NBA team taking on a EuroLeague team or something like that. That would be cool. Only because, look, it adds a different element. I don't want to. I'm sorry. Do I want to see the Orlando Magic and Oklahoma City Thunder in a meaningless preseason game? No. But what would be cool is if they take on Real Madrid or they take one of those teams out in Turkey or Italy. I mean, Rick Pitino is Rick Pitino still coaching in Italy right now, or the Greece team?
Oh yeah, they won the championship.
All right, so
but they already do that in the preseason. Sometimes
they do.
Not
every team plays one or two of them, and nobody cares. Still, they do.
Not every team though. One of the
about half. Okay, you're right. Not every team. About half the teams play one or two national teams, and guess what? They're all blowouts. The NBA teams are better than those teams. That's not entertaining. NBA is so much better than every other EuroLeague team. It's not going to be fun.
Yeah, I don't care about playing some Euro team because you're still playing an irrelevant game that you're not going to get your side to play 100% because they don't really care because the outcome's not really going to matter. You mean this interview that they had? You can find it on YouTube. It's like an hour long with Bill Simmons. It's a great interview. There's other things that I cared about more than just this, but I don't think you need to change the All-Star game. From the past 30 years. It's not about the actual game; it's the build up to it. There's a bunch there's movie stars. Mm-hmm. There's movie stars, and there's a lot of entertainment that goes into it. That's good for the players who come and the families and the people who show up and pay the ticket to watch the game. I don't think they need to change it because it's not about. I know Adam Silver says like the game's not good and it's not really competitive and blah blah blah, but it's an all-star game. You know what I mean? That's like telling me what to do on my week vacation. Don't tell me what to do. It doesn't have to be competitive. You
just some overthinking.
You think
with
it was like a defensive matchup, 99 and 98, an all-star game that somehow the fans are going to give a shit more? No, I got voted, so I'm on vacation. Don't tell me how hard I got to work on vacation. Nothing needs to change with the all-star game.
I think it's big networking. Big networking for these guys. Yeah. They go, that's how all these, not collusion, but
it's
how
the legal tampering period.
Great.
Honestly,
it
is.
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. I love the Super Team.
Legal signing.
It's more entertaining.
The legal signing period. So, what Ben? You have anything? Nope. Okay. All right. So, end of the year awards. Biggest surprise team this season. Coach of the year. Which teams are looking forward to seeing to improve next season? And
let Ben start off this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So the biggest surprise, I still will say it's the Bucks. I don't think anyone expected the Bucks to be the number one seed in the East because, it's Milwaukee, right? We know Giannis is good.
They were number 7 last year.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. No one expected them to be the number one seed. So they're my biggest surprise Coach of the Year is going to have to stay in Milwaukee for that reason. And the team I'm actually looking forward to seeing, because I still don't know if it's a mirage or not, is the Pistons. Because for what they're doing right now doesn't make sense. Like, none of it makes sense. It's a bunch of guys that are fighting on a night in and night out basis. Like, they're trying to win games, and they're fighting and whatnot, and they're playing well at times. But that's the team that I'm looking forward to next season. I want to see if it's actually sustainable, or if it's not. To me, actually, right now the Pistons are intriguing for the first time in about 6 years,
or longer even. But I agree. Go ahead, Mike.
The Pistons, I mean, they can still blow it up after this season, and it wouldn't. Like, and that's what everybody's saying. Like, they're doing good, they're winning games, but they can still blow it up after the season. So I'm glad they didn't sell, even though I wanted them to at the trade deadline. But the team, agree with Ben, Coach of the Year staying in Milwaukee just because of the crazy turnaround and the system that he put that team in to get them in place to where they are now. But the team I'm very intrigued about is the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young, yes, there's going to be some growing pains with every rookie, but he's coming along great. And then just what they did, yes, they could have got Doncic, but at the same time, they got Trae Young, who with skills-wise is still comparable, but they also got an additional pick from Mavericks, which might be a top 10 pick because the Mavericks suck this year. And they have their own pick, which is going to be a top 10 because they suck.
Have you seen Trae Young in the past, 30 games is averaging, 7 assists a game or something like that?
So,
it's crazy.
I love Trae Young in college, and I've never ever looked forward to watching an Atlanta Hawks game, but I do pay for League Pass, and when the game's on, I do watch. They got Collins at center, who's a very underrated center, whatnot. So Atlanta has a lot to look forward to moving forward.
All right. Well, I have something a little different for my team and coach. Team, I'm going to say the Nets because I thought they were garbage, and right now I think they're garbage, which shows you what I think about the Pistons right now because they're tied in the standings. But I can't believe the Brooklyn Nets are going to make the playoffs, and that's what it looks like. But I'd give Coach of the Year to Steve Clifford because I think Orlando is even worse, and they're still in the conversation in the East. I can't believe Steve Clifford's doing what he's doing with this team, especially since they soft sold and then soft bought at the deadline, so you had no idea what they were doing. But at the same time, Orlando is still in the playoff picture, which is crazy. So,
Rayvon?
I think the biggest surprise team is the Denver Nuggets. I don't think anybody before the season would have thought they would have been the 2 seed out west all year. I think
I called them 2 or 3.
My Coach of the Year will be Nate McMillan. I think the Pacers. God
damn it!
Come on now, they're hanging on to that 3rd seed. They're going to disrupt the Big Four in the East and force the Celtics and the Sixers to play each other in the first round. Without Victor Oladipo, they're still carrying that.
Exactly, Rayvon. That's exactly why I thought he was going to be Coach of the Year. You're doing this without Victor Oladipo. You're still hanging on in the top part of the Eastern Conference. He's done a really good job. Nate McMillan has learned a lot from his first coach carousel. So I think in this case for Indiana, I think he's done a really good job. Jamie, you want to close it out before we move on to NFL talk?
Yeah, I would say that the team that surprises me the most is the Nets, because nobody expected them to be where they are right now, and they are just a huge surprise across the board. And yes, while I think that the Coach of the Year is going to end up in Milwaukee, I think Doc Rivers deserves a really good look because he is doing amazing things with the Clippers, and he's doing it without a star. Like, he's doing it just with making the team do great teamwork, great chemistry, running plays that work for the team. Like, that to me says more about the fact that he's a great coach than somebody who can do it with an amazing star who can also get the team going.
That's one of I consider it's a good one.
If he won Coach of the Year, he'd be another coach who would be on a new team the following year after winning.
Yeah, no.
Well, and I think that he does have a slight edge because he is in LA, and a lot of these awards tend to go to the bigger markets. So
actually, that's not true. Terry Stotts wins NBA Coach of the Year every year. He's it's seriously every other year it's Terry Stotts because he's always in Portland, and Portland everybody always forgets about Portland.
No, they're a regular season team.
There's the team I think that if I was
Toronto.
Real quick, the team I think would be underwhelming would be the Timberwolves. I expect a lot of the Timberwolves this year. but they have failed, and Tom Thibodeau is now doing NBA commentary for TNT. Is it now?
I mean,
they got off to a rough start with the whole Jimmy Butler thing.
They need an expansion in NBA, and then they put Minnesota in the East, and then there'll be another bottom feeder, but at least make the playoffs.
Yeah, there you go. So that is horse for this week. So plenty of action going to happen in the NFL. Lions fans out there were rejoicing. They were just
sort of.
No, I didn't say sort of. I said they were rejoicing.
No, I'm saying sort of.
Oh, sort of.
I have never. I'm sorry. Go. You set this up first.
Okay, so the Lions
season.
Yeah, well, so the Lions went and they went and signed a bunch of players and got drunk. Perhaps, I don't know, depending on what but a lot of fans out there were just going ape for they were going ape shit for some of the signings they had, and so we got some NFL experts in the room here. And,
well, who'd they sign, Roger?
Oh, that's. Let me get to that.
I wasn't sure.
I was trying to get to that, but I'm being rushed. So
hurry up.
The Lions signed Danny Amendola. They also signed Tyler Flowers.
Trey Flowers,
and that's why I was trying to get the other information to get
Jesse James, Justin Coleman. Who did they sign yesterday?
Adams.
Yeah, the safety. So they made 5 signings, and then the offensive lineman. Man, I wish I had his name.
Oday Boucher.
Yeah, Boucher. So 6 total free agent signings so far.
So Lions fans thinking that it's already stamping themselves up to the Super Bowl and getting all crazy up essentially. But I'll be honest. Some of the players I do not know much about outside of just the stat line. So I'll let Ben kind of dictate where to start on this in terms of Trey Flowers' contract. Is that a good deal for the Lions, Ben? And I saw the picture of him signing. He looked miserable.
Okay. Oh, my God. This is what I'm talking about. Why does what he looks like when he signs his contract matter?
Just a joke.
No, it's not. Twitter was freaking out yesterday about it.
I wasn't freaking out about it.
Everybody. Okay, I'm not saying you were. I'm saying people
because
in general.
it's funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
Except people weren't treating it that way. I saw people losing their minds.
That's why people don't want to come to Detroit because of the media.
That's what I'm saying.
Being mad about how people react on social media. You need to.
No, I didn't.
That is ridiculous.
Even more so if you're getting mad about how Detroit Lions fans react to anything on social media.
Admittedly, though, you know how many
now we got to look it up.
No, but admittedly, how many times I've gotten mad? Well, you and I have debated this, Pap Check, about when fans react about Twitter. I get like, oh man, why are they reacting that way? You're like, it's not that big of a deal.
No, this is totally different because this is 100% a culture thing here. Oh, Lions fans find a reason to hate everything that this team does, no matter what.
It's not that serious.
That needs to be tempered a little bit. There is a very loud and very vocal contingent of Lions fans that are Lions fans just so that they complain about what the Lions do.
No, no matter what. But
let's actually talk about the deal.
I was going to say. So Ben,
I like the signing because in his rookie year with Patricia, he was unstoppable in New England, and Patricia knows how to use a guy. And I didn't like the fact that the Lions franchise tag Ziggy Ansah to have him be questionable in over 8 straight weeks and basically miss time and still collecting a nice franchise tag while doing it. So the Lions' front four is actually going to be exciting to watch for the first time in a couple of years. And when I say a couple of years, I mean like 8. But that one I liked the most. I hate the Jesse James signing. I think that's a waste of money, and I think that's a waste of everyone's time because that's a Luke Wilson, like a slight upgrade from Luke Wilson. But there's a reason why Jesse James lost his job in Pittsburgh. He can't stay healthy, and he's not a good pass blocker. So I don't know what exactly you're expecting from this guy because he's not the same player that he was at Penn State. He's completely different. He's not going to win those 50-50 balls because I don't know if he'll stay healthy. Danny Amendola, whatever. Like that's fine. I'm expecting maybe him though to get cut in preseason.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about this, Ben. Isn't it similar to it's almost the exact same deal as the Matt Asiata deal, isn't it? It's because they were both 1 year, $4.5 million with bonuses.
Because I honestly think the Lions are targeting the kid from UMass. His name
Andy something. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
His name escapes me at the moment, but that kid is a prototypical small slot receiver that teams like the Patriots and the Lions would like, because he ran one of the fastest 40 times in the combine 2 weeks ago, and I think you bring him in to basically mentor this kid, because he's going to be available there in the second round. He could even maybe be there in the third round. And now that you traded Golden Tate to Philly to get that third round pick, you can have it. But I didn't necessarily hate what they did, because Justin Coleman's a good starter at nickel corner. He's very, very good, and the defense needed help in generating a pass rush so that the corners didn't have to work so hard. But yeah, the Coleman signing was nice. The Trey Flowers signing was nice. Amendola, like I said, I'll be shocked if he's actually still playing after the trade deadline in Detroit. If he is, it means he's having a really decent season, so people shouldn't be that upset about it. I really don't like the Jesse James signing. I think that's a waste of everyone's time. And yeah, so other than that, though, I think the Lions had a pretty good free agent acquisition that actually got me excited for the first time ever since they signed Kyle Vanden Bosch, 8 years ago? And that famous, Jim Schwartz went over at his house at midnight and camped out at his doorstep so that, he could sign him. That's one of those things. Vanden Bosch, when he was signed, helped transform the Lions to that crappy 0-16 team to a team that will try to fight and compete to get into the playoffs. That's what Trey Flowers is. He's the type of guy who can be disruptive, and you have Deshaun Hand on the other side. It takes pressure off Deshaun Hand on the other side. You have very good guys in Harrison in the middle and Ashawn Robinson in the middle. The front four is going to be fun to watch. And if that can free up Gerard Davis to come in on blitzes, oh my God, the defense could actually be solved.
Yeah, I'm with Roger. I don't know too much about these signings, but these are some of these are ex-Patriots, and then I guess that goes good with the whole Patricia thing. He knows how to employ them.
I was going to ask you, Ben, is it
That's
Flowers?
Such a red herring.
Does Flowers play up to the scheme correctly? Or
Yes.
Is he just is the scheme signing versus just because sometimes they get signed for scheme versus just okay.
But he was the top pass rusher in free agency for a reason. He is just very, very good, and it make I say it's a red herring that people keep saying. Well, the Lions keep going after guys that are Patriots. Well, except this guy is not the reason why they signed him. He's very good in what. Young. Well, he's good, he's young, and he knows what Patricia wants, and Patricia knows how to use this guy. So, yeah, that makes sense. Patricia's actually coached this guy before. It's not just saying, before Patricia was hired, when Bob Quinn was bringing in, every time that there was a free agent, the Lions should take a look at this guy because he played on the Patriots. The Trey Flowers deal is very different from that.
Yeah, he's
very different.
He's considered one of the most versatile defensive linemen in the league. He played every single spot at least 5-6% of the time. He lines up in every single spot on the line. He
can play standing up, which is hard.
That's why they got him. It doesn't matter that he was a Patriot. It's that he's that versatile, and that's the kind of player they.
And that's why I was asking about the X's and O's kind of thing, because there's sometimes where a signing makes sense for the scheme and overall upside. So
and he's the one where it does. It's not just he was a Patriot, so obviously the Lions were going to look at him because he was a Patriot. It makes sense. No, it makes sense because of what Patricia wants to do, and when they're combined together, they're lethal in doing so. So. Yeah, Bob Quinn getting Harrison from the Giants in that trade was brilliant because it helped shore up the run defense. Now you have a guy in Trey Flowers that will help secure the pass rush. You have two guys that can rotate in and out in different situations that are really going to help this defense. And that's what yes, there's the saying, if you win in March, you're not going to win in February. That is true. But the Lions also had a lot of holes to plug. And Bob Quinn hasn't really missed on a lot of draft picks. He's missed on some, but he's getting it. He's getting things better, and he's retooling the offensive and defensive lines. If you look at what Bob Quinn has done, and now entering year 4, he's totally almost fixed the offensive line, and he's totally changed the defensive line into a very fun front four. This is why. like people should at least be excited that Bob Quinn's your GM because he's not just a guy that's just going to, make just flash signings. He actually has a plan, and you can see his plan taking shape. And this team, once it starts going there, that's why I like Bevel as the offensive coordinator because you're going to have rolling pockets, which is going to help the offensive line look better than it is. It's intriguing to see if the Lions can take the next step. I think Patricia's still way over his head. I don't think he's the right head coach, but if he can fix the defense, then it's at least a positive step forward for Patricia and the Lions going forward.
Yeah, I really like the half of the signings. I like Flowers. You can play multiple different positions, so it kind of, in a way, fills a couple of holes at the same time. If you look at their contracts, it kind of goes with our beginning topics about how people don't want to come to Detroit. So we did overpay, but we had to a little bit.
I don't think we overpaid Trey Flowers. I think Coleman is the one that we really overpaid,
sure.
but Trey Flowers probably got market value here.
I think we paid him.
Yeah, it was because he's 17, 18.
Yeah,
and
he got less than market value.
Mm-hmm.
I still think from other contracts that reported that you were offered, it's like $1 million more.
No, it was like $1 million more per season.
That's besides the point. Coleman, we definitely overpaid for him. I mean,
a little bit for him, yes.
He's the highest paid slot corner in the league.
Yeah,
now.
and then so we still have a hole at cornerback. You know what I mean? Because he's not going to do anything besides cover the slot guy. You know what I mean? But we did have to overpay to bring him here. It is going to fix a big hole. Jesse James, whatever. I think that's just like a stopgap that he's here for now. I mean, he's an upgrade from what we had. We're definitely not going to get anything better right now. I think there were trades that could have happened, like Cameron Brate or depending on how much Jared Cook wants from out of Oakland. But Danny Amendola, $4.5 million. We paid him what Miami didn't want to pay him. You know what I mean? So it's like I think he could have taken less, but I'm not a big fan of Danny Amendola. But he does fill a hole of a slot wide receiver.
Hold on, Mike,
he is serviceable.
Let me ask you about Jordy Nelson just got released. What do you think about if the Lions would have waited and maybe gone after him instead?
I mean, it's the
they
same,
could, yeah.
It's the same old white dude. You know what I mean? They're just basically the same person. So I don't think Jordy would take 4.5, but he probably wants to go.
They're not the same person. They play different positions. Jordy Nelson is an outside wide receiver. Danny Amendola is strictly a slot wide receiver. Danny Amendola is not an outside wide receiver. Jordy Nelson, for years in Green Bay, was used as an outside wide receiver. He's going back to Green Bay, so Aaron Rodgers isn't, whining and complaining like he did all last season. Yeah. But they're different wide receivers.
And I do believe Jordy will go back to Green Bay, but no. It wouldn't have. Danny Amendola didn't push the needle for me, and Jordy Nelson wouldn't have pushed the needle for me either.
Pushed the needle for the female fan base.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I was gonna say. So Jamie, speaking of our female fan base, but what did you think of those signings overall?
Well, as a female fan, I can say that the Danny Amendola signing didn't really push it too far. The Jesse James signing sure did, as a female fan. But no, I was not excited about Amendola. I wasn't upset. I wasn't mad, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, we just made the best move. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. And so it kind of started off the day as like, all right, so the Lions are making some moves that don't seem to be making a lot of help come their way, but as the day progressed and as we learn more and more, obviously I'm super excited about the Flowers signing. I think that is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to watching the front four play this year. I have always been a defense-minded girl. I like to watch defense. And when I played Powder Puff and stuff, I played defense. Defense, to me, is the best part of football. So I'm very excited about that.
Does this push them into playoff contention, possibly?
It's so hard to say because they were so up and down last year and so unpredictable. You never knew if they were going to win a game. In fact, you could almost guarantee if you thought that they were going to win the game, they were going to lose. And if you thought that they had no business winning, that they would actually win that game. So until you start seeing some on-field things, you just don't know. But I think it's a step in the right direction.
I don't think we were as bad as our record showed last year. I know
6-10.
We were inconsistent.
We aren't that bad. But to make it go a step back, Jordy Nelson was the most efficient slot receiver in 2016, but he didn't want to do a position change in 2017 to be a slot wide receiver. But what I was going off of, he wasn't healthy in 2017. He was on a new team in 2018. So
he hasn't been healthy in 2 years.
You know what I mean? So, but in 2016, he was the number one efficient slot receiver in the game. But
can we talk about the biggest signing though?
Yeah, let's because
the biggest signing is Zach Zenner. Like, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Like, that is a sneaky good signing. It really is. For depth in your backfield and for the price that you're getting him at, that is a damn good signing.
He with Kerryon out, he was their best running back the last, 6 weeks last year? He was actually good. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, that is one of the best signings that Bob Quinn made. I'm not kidding.
Oh, well, hold on. Abe's got something to say. What you got?
Look, I happen to like Zach Zenner. I liked him coming out of North Dakota State. But imagine Zach Zenner was on the Tampa Bay Bucks the last 3 years, right? And now you guys just signed him. Are you as excited about that signing as you are right now re-signing him?
I'm not excited about it. I just love the guy. I think that he has potential.
He's a fan favorite, right? He's a nice guy, nice story. But if he's coming from somewhere else, you'd be like, the hell are we doing?
No, because I'm that, like, NBA, I have this problem in NBA and in the NFL. Like, I'm the guy that I would take, like, the player of the year every year in the NBA, and Zach Zenner, he has the record for most rushing yards, like, in D2. So hell yeah, I'd be like, yeah, he's got something, you know. I'm an idiot though. That's why I'm not running an NFL team.
He wouldn't be like, oh, now Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't move the needle for like the average fan.
Well, but like, here's the thing though, right? You hear the saying that you can find a running back anywhere. So like in that scenario, if he was a guy that was on the Bucs, he's a guy that when he's on the field, he does get production. So if the shoe was on the other foot, if he wasn't in Detroit at the start of his career after he was at South Dakota State, then if the Lions picked him up to be the depth guy that he is, I would be all for it. Because if you do any research, he was dynamite in Division II. He's productive, not all the time, but he's productive when he's on the field in a backup role. In with what the Lions have in Theo Riddick, a good pass-catching back out of the backfield, Kerryon Johnson, which is the balanced back that you need, who can run in between the tackles and take the ball outside, and now this guy spelling him, it's a perfect signing. Like even if he wasn't in Detroit to start his career, a signing like this, if you do a little bit of research, is a very, very good signing. That's why I joked when the deal was made that the Lions made fireworks the day before, and this comes off as a whimper. The Zach Zenner signing is not a whimper. Like, it is a very good, smart, like, depth signing for the money that he's going to be getting too.
You need depth throughout. I'm not disagreeing with that. So put it the other way. If Zenner left here and went and signed with another team, would it be all up in arms like, what are we going to do now? No, because you can find that nice depth guy out on the scrap heap. There's always guys, especially at that position, that can get done. You know, those small things. Guys like Isaiah Crowell who are out there now. There's like these. He's just a guy. He's not going to be a Pro Bowler. He's not going to be an All-Pro. He's not going to be some superstar running back. He's going to be a guy that gets you a few yards when you need him. Can give your number one guy a spell every now and then. He's a nice player. He's a fan favorite. I get that. But to be like, oh, this is what's going to put us, over the top. Every team needs depth. So he's. And I like Zach Zenner. I like his hustle. I like the motivation he puts out there on the field. There's no questioning that. But it's like there's a lot of guys like that.
Sure.
So,
but not at the money though. But that's what I'm saying. Like, not at the money though, because Crowell would.
And that already are familiar with the scheme and the team and the expectation.
Like I said, I'm entertaining Abe's if he was on another team or if he went to another team. For the money that you're getting, Zach Zenner.
What's his contract?
His contract that he's going to be getting. Let me see.
It's a 1-year deal.
It's a 1-year deal for $100,000 fully guaranteed. Can rise up to $805,000. So he's great at the value, and you're not getting Isaiah Crowell for that type of money.
No.
And with the signings that you did, this is why this is such a good signing, and I'm kind of being a geek about this, and I apologize, but the reason why it's such a good signing is because with the new free agents that you bring in, like Justin Coleman or Trey Flowers, you can actually front load those deals a little bit and eat into the rest of your cap space so it doesn't hamper you down the line. You can restructure contracts that can actually balance out, and as that cap increases every single year, those deals look more like good, solid bargains at what they are because you're able to restructure and move that money. That's why, I hate to be a cap geek about this, but the Zach Zenner signing was the one that, honestly, except for Trey Flowers, was the one that really was like, hey, all right, like this one actually makes sense. I don't think a previous GM that the Lions had, granted they had idiots running their front office, would make a solid, smart deal like this.
If Carry-On goes down, week 2, torn ACL, right?
Which is possible.
Everything's possible. Are you trusting Zach Zenner to carry the load for the rest of the season?
No, he's a back.
No, I'm trusting the number 2 back in Theo Riddick to be more of the go-to back because he's versatile. People see him as a pass-catching back, but he can still run in between the tackles. Granted, he's more bust than Boone when he does that. But again, if Carry-On goes down, I'm not necessarily being like, oh my God, the Lions are necessarily screwed because the Lions are a 60-40 pass to run anyways.
You've been talking about cap nerdy stuff. You were talking about how they could front load those contracts or back load them. That's exactly what they did. The cap hits for this year are minuscule.
Yep.
They've got Trey Flowers is $6.4 million this year. Amendola is the full value, and then Justin Coleman is $3.39 million per year for this year rather.
And all those deals you can get out technically if you want after year 3.
Yeah, the third year. Yeah,
so you're not really hampered by anything. They're brilliant moves, and Bob Quinn, for that reason, is a semi-genius.
That's been happening around the NFL a lot. Like D Ford just signed a deal that they can get rid of him after this upcoming season.
Every year
a lot of the players who just signed in Oakland, they did it because they did smaller money this year because when they go to Vegas next year, there's no tax.
Play that drop again.
They can get
No,
more.
Ben, when you were laughing like that earlier, this reminded me of this.
I love Screaming Dan.
That laugh, you're like, and I'm like,
I love Screaming Dan.
And it just immediately, I just thought of that scene where it just
or it's Handsome Dan.
Yeah.
Now it's 16 minutes past the big hour. Is that not right, Mr. Scream?
That's my contribute to this conversation.
The one disappointing thing about all this is
OGB going to Cleveland?
No, I love that. You know I'm continue to root for the Browns, but
add another team to the pro bandwagon. Oh yeah,
I haven't been rooting for the Browns every single week for the past 2 years.
Yeah, because it came fashionable.
I guess
that is kind of.
No one's going to back me up on that.
No, I agree.
No, Roger's 100% right.
The Browns became fashionable?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were the hot team, and now they're even hotter. They're like a popular Super Bowl pick, so of course you're going to root for them.
Jamie, would you back me up?
The Jags. You like the Jags.
16, I rooted for them every week.
You liked Blake Bortles after one small playoff push. What is Blake Bortles doing now?
All right.
Yes, you did.
I never liked Blake Bortles.
Oh, yes, you did.
He liked
never liked
we could go back in the files for this.
liked the Jaguars, and it was because of Blake Bortles why we said they'd never win it.
And I said Blake Bortles is this close to being Joe Flacco.
Oh, my goodness.
Flacco is wacko.
The SRD, the Roadshow court is now in session.
But
is Pro going to jump on another bandwagon, Jamie?
I think it's very likely, given the past history of Pro's bandwagonness and things like buying tickets to games that he's never even going to go to just because.
That is true.
I think it's a possibility.
Mike, you own that one. It's like one of my favorite things about you. Oh my god.
You did say the Browns are going to the Super Bowl.
I know the Browns are going to the Super Bowl.
but Rayvon, you're relatively new to the show.
I stick to my.
You think he's a bandwagon or no?
Well, I know he's a Lakers fan, so that's the only team I know he genuinely roots for.
He likes Alabama.
He roots for Bama.
He does. He's a Bama kid.
Okay. He's also a big Michigan football fan. Doesn't talk about the basketball team.
The Michigan football fan. Yeah, that disproves everything. What have they done?
Hey, like I said,
I don't actually believe that.
I
just
went 0-16 during
I'm
our
going to cry
picks.
myself
I
to
picked
sleep.
them every single
Thank you. I'm going to go in the corner, If you guys need me, I'll be the guy sobbing in a fetal position after that comment. My God.
But back to what I was saying.
Savage.
The disappointing thing is that you see it happen with other teams and other quarterbacks. Drew Brees just restructured his contract for like the 5th time, so to bring $10 more million to the team this year. So next year they can't do it next year because he's done it so many consecutive years that his cap hit next year is like $42 million.
Yeah.
But why can't if Patty really wants to win here, why can't he restructure his deal so we can have more money to sign one more player? He can do the same thing.
Who?
Matt Stafford.
Oh, I thought you said Patty.
Yeah, he did say Patty.
Dude,
Matt Stafford restructures his deal. Well, maybe not recently, but before he signed this one, he did it every single year. So did Sue.
But
that's a common thing.
He can do that now. Does he want to win, or does he want to continue to stink? You know what I mean? Like, he can get more money now or less money later to help the team. He's not cutting himself short at all. It's not like his pockets are tight where he needs that extra $6 million this year.
But they could save it. They have $29.5 million left in cap space.
They have
cap
like,
space isn't the issue.
Well, but he's saying he wants Matt Stafford to create more cap space, and
why not?
That's what I'm saying. Because we don't. If they start getting closer to the cap space, then they do it if they need to. But to do it right now and push it down the road, it takes it away from next year, and you don't want to cut into the cap space next year unless you have to. So why would you do it right now when you have almost $30 million in cap space? If they make a couple signings this year still, then sure. But I think it's pointless right now.
They're not going to come close. Now with the guys that are still out there, they're not going to get that big, huge signing that's going to take up all that space. You need about 10 to 12 for your draft, and then everything carries over to the next year anyway.
But by the way, you're looking at during the training camp, the cuts. That's what they
did. By the way, we did have a comment about if Zenner, and this is from Jeremy Stover. If Zenner makes the full $800K, Kareem Hunt will make less, and it's way better.
Yeah, but Kareem Hunt, that's a whole separate issue. He's also has he's an 8-game suspension, and whether he's been consistent or not, Bob Quinn said, "Oh, I'm not going after guys like that."
All right, yeah, that's a character issue. Yeah.
Whether it's been consistent or not, he did say that.
No, but you're right. The last thing before we move on, Le'Veon Bell sits out for a year, gets paid 4 years. $52 million by
huge discount.
At a huge discount, gets paid 4 years at $52.5 by the Jets. But did he get what he wanted? And I
mean, there's a factual answer to that. We know the answer to that. He didn't because he was asking for the Steelers gave him more, and he said no.
Yeah.
So we know the answer to that.
There was a tweet that resurfaced recently
where
a fan asked him, would you come to the Jets for $60 million, and he said that's not enough to come run with the Jets.
He said I wouldn't do it for $100.
Yeah, now
shows you, motherfucker.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, Jamie, are you eating the Enjoy Crow moment there?
Yeah, that's what you get when you decide you're going to show yourself to be an extremely difficult diva when it comes to what you want. You can't back up your words. If you're not going to sit there and back up what you just said, then why'd you even start it in the first place?
Yeah,
it makes him look weak.
Yeah, he was wrong for sitting out the entire year. He could have faked an injury and still collected money, so that was dumb on his part. But the Pittsburgh Steelers were only going to give him $10 million guaranteed. He got $25 million guaranteed from the Jets. So if we're looking at guaranteed money, he won. He wanted more guaranteed money, so he got more guaranteed money. So when you're looking at it like that, he did win.
In that regard, no. Yeah,
but from his own admission, he didn't. He was saying that he wanted also a longer, he wanted the length of the deal maybe, but he said that he wanted to be the highest paid running back in the NFL.
But you want to say, hey, I want to be mid-level paid in an NFL running back? Or are you going to talk highly of yourself? Nobody's going to talk mid-level of themselves or almost highly of themselves.
But he said he was going to redefine free agency. He said that he was going to change things, and that's not going to happen. He thought that he was laying the baseline for other players to do the same thing, and now every player ever is going to be not sitting out a whole year. He lost $16 million last year.
You know what he's getting this year? His cap hit this year is 8.5. The year after that is 13.5. The Jets can cut him after the second season if he's not good enough. they can cut him for nothing on their cap after that.
Oh my God!
All right, so
they still owe him guaranteed, but
they owe him guaranteed. But he missed out on the $16 million last year to hold out for more guaranteed.
That was the only dumb
that
part.
was dumb.
That was the only dumb part for himself. But he did set the future up for other running backs who are elite like him, which there probably won't be many, to try to get paid a little bit more.
Maybe more guaranteed, but the owners won. They told him, you're not getting the money that you wanted, and they were right. He did not get the deal he wanted.
He got more guaranteed. So
right, but what I'm saying
guaranteed is where it's at.
He got more
Nothing
guaranteed.
Else matters
but
in the NFL besides guaranteed.
It matters because he lost $16 million last year. So let's say the Steelers were only going to give him $10 million guaranteed, right? So add those two together. That's $26 million. That is more money. That's what I'm saying. So you're right in that he kind of won, but because it took a year to sit out is why he didn't win. It's not a template.
If he didn't sit out and he got paid his money last year and got the same exact deal this year,
it would be different.
It would be different. So that was the only downfall. But when it came to the contract he wanted to get, he still got more guaranteed money than he was offered to begin with.
All right, let's move on though. We only got 20 minutes left, and
move on.
I am moving on. So I do want to talk. There's a couple things left. The college admission stuff we'll get to in a second, but I did want to talk really quick about the Michael Fulmer shutting it down.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
we had to talk about that only because it is significantly and Chris and I talked about this on Tigers, and Chris pointed out that when you lose 6 miles an hour to your fastball, that's a tall tale sign that something is wrong. And my whole take on this is simple. This is the team. He's going to be dealing with a lower body issue. That's why. So he has been pitching with a brace, but this is the same ball club that when Verlander left, and Verlander indirectly, pretty much directly, let's take out the indirectly part, in a Sports Illustrated article, blamed the Tigers training staff for not recognizing why he wasn't getting back to the form quicker. So
who else did this happen to? Anibal Sanchez, maybe? Loses 4 miles an hour on his fastball?
I was going to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We're talking about.
I thought this was like we're all talking.
I know, but I was just
talking baseball. You know, he's the cutoff man.
I was just gonna bring this up and never mind. Anyways,
wait, I'm supporting you, Roger. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm just. That's not a big deal. Anyways, what I was trying to say is that essentially there's a history among the Tiger staff in the last 10, 15 years among the coaching staff, or excuse me, in the staff that has indicated so. This does not bode well for Fulmer or for people, for that matter, Tigers fans, because based off track record. Because look what happened with Sanchez in Atlanta last year. His numbers got better. Verlander's numbers have gotten better even at his older age. So it begs the question, what is it something the Tigers are doing, or is it something that essentially Fulmer's just done, and no matter what, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter where he ends up, if he ends up getting traded anywhere, if he, hypothetically speaking, this would be an injury that we would see somewhere else. Or the injury would be fixed anywhere else.
Well, I'll just say, first of all, if they have to trade Michael Fulmer, that is not a good spot. That was supposed to be their number one, number two guy, and he hasn't lived up to that. But no, the Tigers have had issues with a ton of pitchers in the past 10, 15 years. Pitchers always seem to get better when they leave.
Yeah, Porcello. Yeah, Porcello.
Well, Porcello was actually good. It's just he was on a ridiculous staff. I always love Porcello, but like he did, you're right. He did get better when he left. Knievel, a relief pitcher, gets better. Chad Smith gets better.
Let's pump the brakes on Corey Knievel. Corey Knievel was
developing.
He was developing, and he was doing really well in the minor league system before the Tigers traded him. And the Tigers, that was an ill-advised trade, but that's another story for another day. But still, it's a very concerned, and also kind of now really pretty much puts Daniel Norris back in the rotation talks, as he was talking about being a short reliever, which I thought was a bad idea. Well,
yes.
It is a bad idea. I mean, if you're going to make him a short reliever, make him a closer or like an eighth inning guy, but not a short reliever. I think is just another way of being
long reliever.
Short is in like maybe 2 innings versus long versus possibly a spot start essentially. But either way.
But he's another guy who's been battling injuries too.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's also his days in Toronto though. Those are kind of
But he's not getting the point. To your point, though, he's not getting better.
No, he's
not.
And
that's what the initial question is, right?
Daniel Norris, that's a whole other thing because when he's on, there are 6 innings at a time where in the middle of like his injury issues that Daniel Norris looks like one of the best pitchers in baseball, but it only lasts for like a couple innings and then he gets a couple hits and then he loses it. I think that he's a head case more than anything.
It's all mental with him. Meanwhile, Boyd gains a couple miles an hour in his last outing.
You're right.
So that's encouraging, but that's not.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think it has anything to do with Rick Anderson's coaching because I think Rick Anderson has even like what was it? Alcantara, Victor Alcantara was talking about Alcantara. Sorry,
no, you're good. I'm just
split finger, and it was talking about putting that in his repertoire. And Rick Anderson's like, nah,
just do what you're good at.
Just do what you're good at. Yeah. So which is what a 4-seamer, and I think it had an off-speed pitch.
So, I guess to answer the question, would it be fixed anywhere else? Didn't he have some question marks when we got him from the Mets, and that's why he wasn't up in the majors yet? I mean, I'm asking because I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's correct.
Issue. Yeah, and this is a lower body mechanics issue, which could they're not getting more into it than that, right? So it could be. I'm not saying that they're related, but with that issue known when we got him, I feel like they always might have known this could happen. But to say that the training staff, there's just too much evidence. And I'm drawing comparisons to the Pistons because the Pistons have come under fire for this too. Like when players get injured for the Pistons, it seems to take them a lot longer to get back than other teams. And I kind of see that in Detroit a little bit.
Yeah, there's this Artie Kanger was one of the best trainers out there for that reason. But the thing is that I noticed with the Tigers, especially in the development of Michael Fulmer, yeah, he did have some injuries with the Mets, but at the same time, there's never been like, wow, they fixed it. You never hear that story about how a Tiger trainer or coach fixed something. Even when Max Scherzer was here and he had to go down, sent down to Toledo, it was himself that fixed his own issue with. Then it became the Max that we know now. He looked back at a video and go, yeah, I fixed it myself. I don't remember him. I don't recall. Maybe I'm wrong. Him mentioning a specific coach or anything like that.
He is also of the famed kudos to me for that, so.
Barry Horvitz pat on the back.
He is the king of patting himself on the back.
I mean, if anybody gets that Barry Horvitz reference, God bless you, but nobody? No? Nobody?
No.
He was a former WWE.
I didn't get it.
I know who he is,
jobber.
But yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you didn't know who he was, but
no, the reference I missed.
Yeah, because before every match, you go Barry Horvitz and do the pat on the back. When he had his suspenders, when he was jobbing.
See, like
I
I know who he is, but I can't go that deep with you.
Yeah, I went super deep on that obscure take there. So,
but first, I do apologize for anybody. I keep blowing in the mic because there's like ants on it. So I'm trying to just blow the ant
there's
off.
Ants on the mic.
It's a mic you can't really blow into it.
You gotta just crush it.
So yeah,
and I'm like,
we're pulling the curtain back and
pulling the curtain
ants.
back there. Yeah,
you see lots of ants.
But I hope he has a speedy recovery.
There's ants all over the place.
Because it's very disappointing because he's had injury after injury this entire time that we've had him, and it seems like they're getting worse. And hopefully he is our pitcher for like the long run. We don't really need him this season anyways because we're going to stink one more year before. But it's like. It's a bad look.
We don't need him, but it's like I was so against trading him, and if this happens, I'm like, oh my god, we should have traded him.
Value's going to.
Yeah, it's gone. If he,
and there's the Tiger fans who also said that was a done deal. They was going to New York. It's the Yankees for.
I'm glad he didn't go.
For Justice Sheffield, wasn't it?
That was never going to happen. The Yankees.
Still a great trade how they got.
How
they got it.
Yeah, if they did happen,
given us Cespedes and all.
But moving on.
If you happen to hear some. I don't know, some strange things during this interview. Just kind of go with it. Your hair looks good like that, by the way.
What strange things?
Well, see, on the application, I may have, what's the word I'm looking for? I may have embellished a little bit.
Embellished? How much?
A tad, minuscule amounts, really, just a tad.
Ah, Ambassador and Mrs. Katsopoulos. I'm Mrs. Jacobs. Why don't you just sit down, make yourselves at home, and I'll be back with you shortly. Ambassador?
So that was
irony.
Yeah, the irony of that all.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing what is going on, and that was a nice drop there, by the way. Whoever, I'm not sure who got that.
That was me.
That was you. Okay, but either way, this was a story that I wanted to bring up because it's kind of we're all college. If I hear myself in the background,
Yes, you can. It's okay.
Okay. So is it Laura?
Lori.
Lori. Is it? Oh, okay.
Lori Loughlin.
Lori Loughlin.
Lori Loughlin.
Who thinks she's an A-list actress?
And she's not. She's been like she's like a Hallmark. Nothing wrong with Hallmark, but I'm not trying to insult Hallmark movies. But
no,
she's
you
been
can.
doing that.
She's like,
don't have an
she might be
affiliation with
E-list,
Hallmark.
really.
Okay.
E-list. Wow.
Yeah. So she bribed. So
F-list
actually
for fraud.
Yeah, I read a couple. I only read one story. I was talking to Ben about this beforehand. Where like there's more to this.
Oh
but,
my goodness, there's a lot to it.
Yeah. So Ben, go ahead and kind of you guys go.
Well, I was gonna say, one thing, right? If they're like the initial story says A-list like actors and actresses, and the first person they list is Lori Loughlin, and I'm like, okay,
I didn't even know who that was at first.
But that's my point, right? That's part of my point. When you first read the story, you think, okay, is she an A-list actress? Maybe in '95 she was, because she was on like one of the best hit sitcoms on a Friday night. But now not so much, because if she was, would they really be paying $250,000 per kid to get into school? Because I know for a fact a guy like Tom Cruise, if says, "Hey, I have a kid, can they get in?" Oh yes, Mr. Cruise. Yes, we can make that. We can make that happen right away. But Lori Loughlin's like, "Hey, I'd like my kid to get in." Who are you?
Well,
yeah. No, I just think it was funny that
I feel embarrassed that I recognize the name right away.
So
was
did I.
really like, Aunt Becky, what the?
No, but see, that's the
But
reason
you're right,
why, right? Like if you didn't grow up watching Full House, like I mean, there's an age gap.
Rayvon didn't know who she was, right?
Yeah,
That's when ABC ruled Friday night, kids.
Oh my god, yeah.
And it was TGIF for a reason.
That's right.
It was because of Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step. It was the lineup to watch.
That's my
man.
childhood. Family. I was
Boy Meets
obsessed
World?
with Family Matters.
Family
Boy Meets World. Yeah.
Meets World, great show.
I mean, but yeah, if you didn't watch any of that, you're like Rayvon. Who's that?
Her husband's. Her
That doesn't
husband
help me. Wait, Aunt Becky from Fuller House. Oh, I get it.
Her husband's the more famous one supposedly. Yes. I don't know, but he's a designer. Go ahead, Mike.
Yes.
So when I read this story, I was like, this is a non-story. People do this all the time. It's almost like paying college athletes. It's happened since the beginning of the time. It's going to happen till the end of time. People are always going to.
Well, but people normally just donate a building.
Yeah, exactly.
It's slightly different when you commit mail fraud to get your kid in.
But it's not even just that. I mean, because it happens all the time. You know what I mean? It's not what you know, it's who you know or how much you can pay. But it's some of the stories that had me mind blown, that there was certain kids played a fake position at a fake school that didn't even have
they got photoshopped
a crew team.
Didn't even have a crew
The
team.
Photoshop is what killed me.
You know what I mean? Or because you just know your child's dumb, so you faked them having ADD so they can have an extra hour on ACT test, and then paid the person giving the test an extra $75,000 to fix the answers because they were too dumb to get the right answers.
So overkill. They literally were like, I'm going to do this step, but just in case that doesn't work, I'm going to do the next step, but just in case, like 4 or 5.
Have you guys seen?
So stupid!
Have you guys seen the newest names that have come out to like try to like distance themselves from this story?
No,
one effect.
on that list.
One's a very prominent Notre Dame alum. The other is a very prominent golfer. Phil Mickelson and Joe Montana would be like, "Yeah, we use these. We heard of this consulting thing, but our kids got into their schools on their own merit." It's like, why are you making statements then?
This is the season for college fraud, and then you got the Will Wade stuff going on at LSU.
I was going to say, because that's what I saw yesterday, because the story's getting advanced with more and more people that have contacted this guy.
Chuck Person's going to turn admit guilt, admit fraud. So,
the former rifleman Chuck Person.
So they paid
the Auburn coach.
Yeah, and he had played for the Pacers. They used to call him the rifleman when he played.
I don't remember.
Yeah. So parents spent anywhere between $200,000 to $6.5 million. I want to know whose dumb kid had the $6.5 million.
It's like
you were really dumb.
It's like a ratio, It's like, oh, you want to get a smart kid into I don't know,
Harvard?
USC, as opposed to a dumb kid into Harvard, That's where the gap is.
For public school, though, that's the thing that cracks
Well,
me up.
some of them, yes.
Yeah, Like, that's pretty bad.
Her daughter, Lori Loughlin's daughter, kind of snitched on herself on Instagram.
Multiple times.
She pretty much said, "I don't even care about college. Like, I don't."
Yeah,
care
because
about
she's set for life. It's just all it is prestige
Bro,
at
young
this
kid
point.
snitch.
If my kid was dumb and I had money, I wouldn't even send them to college. I would just like have them start a business or something.
Well, that's the thing. Her daughter is a
huge influencer.
Yeah, she's an influencer. Like,
God,
I know the
you can
whole
hate it, but it is a position that's growing, and a lot of people make
understand,
money.
Like, I understand working in social media every day. I
Yes.
get that. I guess I can add. I guess I can add that to my title apparently, but I still think it's bizarre.
No, it is.
We just all we got to do is work on our beach bods a little bit, and we'll be one of those people. All right.
That's why I'm
Let's do
behind
it.
the camera when I do stuff for my work because I don't want I still have some work to go. But
I was a punter at Henry Ford. You know what I mean?
no, Jamie. No, Jamie.
So why didn't you get a free education at Yale? Huh?
Yeah, these are some big schools: Yale, Stanford, Georgetown, Wake Forest, University of Texas, USC. It's like
they're all big schools.
All big schools,
but they're all public. Some of them are public schools. And I'm like, why would you have to bribe? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you know why? Well, but hang on. But Michigan's a public school, but it's really hard to get into Michigan.
Yeah, but they're okay. Understandably so.
So, like, I mean,
Stanford's
admission.
public?
Yeah, Stanford's a public school.
Yeah, but no, Stanford was Stanford on that list too.
Yes.
Okay, I'm saying like
USC is a public school.
Well, I'm talking like in terms of like state school, like
Yeah.
USC, Texas.
No,
you
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like
but
you should use like your little bit of alumni versus if you need $6 million to get into USC, there's something your kid's really stupid then.
really dumb. Like you are so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
dumb.
Like
It's you got to realize it's where these kids want to go. So like that's why they're sending these places. Oh, you want, where do you want to go? You can go to any school in the country. I want to go to Texas. Oh.
But
I mean, sure, we can do that, but it's like based on what the kids
But
want.
how
you know?
dumb are you that you had to pay $6.5 million?
Because Stanford's a different. Like Stanford, I get that.
I
but,
don't
like,
care about
period,
anything
but,
besides I want them to put down
you know
who
what's-
paid what and how dumb they were.
I guarantee the schools aren't asking for money. It's just the parents being like, "How much is it going to cost?" So really, it's like the parents' perception of their own children.
Schools,
You know?
pretty much at all. It was that consulting firm who was partnering with the coaches, and the consulting firm and the coaches were getting paid. The schools didn't particularly make anything off of it.
No, I mean there was at USC. There was the assistant athletic director got arrested on Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay. And
So-
but not the whole school. It wasn't like the administration or
Assistant athletic
admissions
director is
even going-
administration.
Well,
yeah.
So I mean,
the
assistant.
whole administration.
Well, no,
it's not.
Oh, like everybody
it wasn't
involved in me. I see.
The admissions officer going, well, if you give me this, I'll let him in. It was a little more underhanded than that.
Well, but it was the
That's what it usually is. Hey, if you want to build us a building, sure, we'll take your kid.
But it was the assistant athletic director saying, "Hey, yeah, I'll take this money to make sure I'll work with admissions to get your kid
Was she
in."
implying? I think she was implying that everybody was involved in it, but just certain people, right? Is that what you're
Right.
implying? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a widespread.
Like an
the whole
entire
school. It
athletic
was
department's
bits
never
and
going to
pieces.
be involved in any scandal. You're not going to fire an entire.
Well, to be fair,
administration.
USC though, like its athletic departments, like in the last 10 years, has had, I think, and I'm not even making this up. I think like 7 scandals. Wow. Like I'm not making this up.
But
like,
no, they're ranked in the top 25 every year. in
like
both sports.
their assistant basketball coach
get there.
was arrested on a recruiting trip for something because they were investigating him. That was 2 years ago.
The strip club.
Yeah, like I mean, there's
Georgia Tech. But yeah.
No.
No, I was gonna say USC's at like. I hate to single out the Trojans, but they run a very, very terrible athletic department.
Yeah, I love.
But like the other schools, though, like that are involved, is a little bit of a head scratcher. But just USC looks really, really terrible.
Yeah. So anybody out there who needs a good laugh, just like find this story and
Just read every update of the story. It's really funny.
because it's
Well, did you see now that there's a woman who's suing Lori Loughlin? I think it might have been Felicity Huffman. She's suing one of them because her kids tried to get into that school and were rejected. And so she's suing them for taking her kid's spot.
That's bullshit.
You can't even prove that.
That's
I was gonna say that's a hard case to prove, but that's interesting.
Yeah, that's also super frivolous. What a bunch of bullshit.
So they basically put
Well, and I think it's going to open up to just a ton because you can't prove that it was that kid, but there's how many kids get turned down in the same year
not what you
with
know,
the
it's
same
what you can
credentials?
right.
Well, right.
They basically proved.
Like I said, it's interesting that they're going to try that tactic. I don't think it's going to work.
yeah. That's
I don't think so either.
It's pretty funny though. Just the stories in this. Like nobody cares about that. You paid somebody to get your kid somewhere because it's going to continue to happen. But it's just the underlying stories in this that just made no sense. They went to great lengths. And like, if you got to do all this, your kid's dumb, and put him in the mailroom in your office and just pay him $1 million a year. Yeah. Like,
I'll never get over the photoshopped evidence of them on teams that didn't even exist. That'll kill me till the day I die. That's great.
Yeah.
It is. That's what I'm saying. You have to read like every update of this story and just follow it from like different outlets because it gets really, really.
They pulled
funny.
a Derrick Rose, basically.
Worse than Derrick Rose.
No, this is next level stupidity.
Because Derrick Rose had extra time, but he didn't pay nobody to give the right answers after the extra time.
But you know what, though? You know, that opens up kind of a Pandora's box a little bit, if you will, currently right now, because what was strange was the timing of this was kind of odd because earlier in the week, Betsy DeVos and Trump were trying to have change the loan laws about loan forgiveness. So I thought that was really, not to be a conspiracy theory guy, but it was.
Well, they've been trying to do that for 2 years.
Yeah, but it came back to, again, that DeVos got denied again, and then all of a sudden that story came out and it just got buried.
Trying to cut subsidized loans and like work study
for low income people. So first of all, she's the worst human being.
No, she is. She's terrible.
She sucks. And every picture of her looked like she's farting. Like she's just like
because she is.
She looks like a Disney villain because she is a villain.
She is Cruella de Vil. She's the modern day Cruella de Vil. Period. Self-interest aside.
She's going to get a nice jacket, though, with those Dalmatian puppies.
Oh, yeah. And her, $100 million?
Soft.
Some sort of...
It's going to be so soft. I'm jealous.
Dalmatians aren't even that soft. It's horrible. It's a horrible choice.
Your face was weird when you're like, it's so soft.
Looks like
it's called acting.
I know. Well, yeah, I know you're a man of the Chelsea, the Purple Rose.
I was going to say, I've acted in shows.
Yeah.
Can I give a quick
I'm not afraid to admit it.
mention to, was it Gail Miller, the owner of the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, I wouldn't have enough time to play the audio, but
it was a beautiful
really
thing, and like I actually like got goosebumps, even though she didn't have some impactful statement. But like she didn't have to say anything. Like but she came out. She had a statement before she stopped, like pregame warm ups and. Had a conversation with the crowd about hey we are better than this. We are not racist. Let's show these players with some respect. And
guys, we're not that racist. We're a little racist. Let's just tone it down.
Don't bring the racism in the building. But it was like it was a very powerful moment. And like
guys, we love Donovan Mitchell.
It meant a lot to me, and it was pretty cool.
I thought it was awesome too. I really did.
Remember, this is the same city in the early 90s in millennium. Remember UPN? You guys remember UPN?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so UPN, I forgot what night of the week it was. They had from 8 to 10, all the shows were hosted by African-American actors or done. It was done. The UPN affiliate in Salt Lake City only had an hour due to it was this urban time limit. So
interesting.
Yeah, more on that outside the show. But we're out of time. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. We're back next week. As always, Rayvon, Jamie, whoever did the show sheet this week, fantastic job.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good show.
It was a good show. We steered the ship. Got a little weird. We steered it back up. So, awesome, guys. See you next week.
Peace.